What is up, everybody? I'm Benjamin Jenks. I'm an American, and I'm here in India. Been here over 900 days. I'm gonna be here a bunch more. Today's video, we're gonna take a look at the typical Indian lifestyle versus the typical American lifestyle. I've learned a lot since I've been here so long, and I looked into some research about different facts and figures about America versus India. We'll be taking a look at different areas such as the physical, emotional, mental, social, spiritual, and financial areas of our lives. And as a guy who loves America, my own country, but also loves India and has chosen to spend a lot of time here, I'm in a unique position to take a look at both America and Indian lifestyles, and let's see what we can all learn from them. Stick around to the end of this video too, because one fact, India is leading the world in a surprising way and probably one of the most important characteristics. Stay tuned. Let's get started by talking about who is waking up first. What do you think, Indians or Americans? When my mom and aunt flew into India late at night and we took a taxi many hours to get to the city where I live, they noticed one interesting thing.
And a lot of people were out in the middle of the night when we were coming through at 3 a.m. on deserted back roads.
There were a lot of people still up. So I would think that Indians stay up later or get up earlier than Americans do. But actually a couple sleep tracking apps found that Americans go to bed at 11:39 p.m. and wake up at 7:09 p.m. Indians go to bed an hour later and wake up 50 minutes later. And India is one of the most sleep-deprived countries in the world. Y'all gotta get more sleep. Indians are also getting less REM sleep than other countries as well. And REM sleep is important. That's when your rapid eye movement is happening. Dreaming. It's rejuvenative. Regenerative. We should all take a tip from some Americans who got the best sleep. They slept over 8 hours. They went to bed before 10 o'clock and their wake up mood was much higher. We gotta get our sleep too, because I read recently that when our brain is sleep deprived, it starts to eat itself. I got more bad news. Indians take the fewest steps out of almost every country. 4,290 steps per day. Americans don't do much better, 4,774 steps per day. We both gotta do better. 10,000 steps a day is a good measure of good fitness. And now we all have these smartphone apps that will track our steps for us. And by tracking your steps, on average, you're gonna take 2,500 more steps per day. I took 31,000 steps last week. Only took 230 steps today though. Now, India is the birthplace of yoga, so of course more Indians are doing yoga than Americans. 8% of Americans do yoga, but 12% of Indians do yoga. That's still a good bit. Yoga's becoming pretty popular. Although 44% of Americans are aspirational yogis, or they'd like to do yoga one day. Yeah, that's like me. One day I'm gonna be a professional bodybuilder. Oof.
Does he?
Now we're coming up at an embarrassing fact for an American. Obesity. 70% of Americans are considered obese. Well, the obesity rate in India varies from 11% to 31%. Moving along to more positive news, both Americans and Indians have some super good breakfasts. I made a video about this, check that up there. Make sure you watch that, all the details about different types of breakfasts, especially some South Indian breakfasts where I live, super good. And both Indians and Americans are skipping breakfast a good bit. 1 in 3 Americans skip breakfast, 1 in 4 Indians skip breakfast, and 70% of Indians only have a little bit. Americans spend way more time in a car than an Indian does. Out of 1,000 people, 809 people will have cars in America, whereas in India, only 22 people will have cars out of 1,000. And if you add up all the time we Americans spend in our car, it would equal 18 total days for an entire year. That's almost 3 weeks. When it comes comes down to religion and spirituality, India is leading the charge here. More Indians believe in God than Americans. Only 74% of Americans believe in God, but 93% of Indians do. In fact, 79% of Indians are Hindu, and there's a lot of God. One weird fact though, 24% of Americans believe in reincarnation. And most Hindus believe in a cycle of death and rebirth called samsara, and when a person dies, their Atman is reborn in a different body. Smartphones. Now, India's internet is getting faster than any other country in the world. It's speeding up. But only 25% of people have smartphones, while in America, over 70%. And Americans are spending over 3 hours on their smartphone every single day. But Indians are crushing it. They're on their phones over 5 hours per day, and I'm totally not surprised by this. The number of people I've seen driving on their scooter, talking to someone is like every other person. Y'all are always talking to somebody. Both India and America are very culturally diverse countries. America is a melting pot. America has had immigrants from around the world coming there for many, many generations. Many Indian Americans live there, and they're doing really well. If you want to check out how Indian Americans have been so successful in America, boom, watch that video. Did you know that Indian immigrants in the USA are making 100 grand a year? India is also one of the most diverse places. There are 22 officially recognized languages, but over 1,635 versions of these languages. Both Indians and Americans love watching movies. As Americans, we have Hollywood. Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt. And one study found that over the past 2 months, Americans watched an average of 20 movies, 10 movies a month. However, a lot of people don't know that Indian movie markets, there are a bunch of them from Bollywood to Tollywood to the other ones. They're making more money. India produces the most movies in the world. They produce movies in over 20 different languages. America and Canada make about 700 movies a year. India makes over 1,500. That's over double. And with more and more people on their smartphones apparently watching 5 hours a day, I imagine there's a few movies that are being watched. Work, though, is a central aspect of our life. It's how we pay our bills. It's how we eat our food. It gives us meaning in this mysterious world. And Indians are one of the hardest working countries in the entire world. 47 hours per week. Indians are working. A sad fact is that their wages are also some of the lowest in the entire world. Americans are working 37 hours per week. An important thing to factor in, though, is the cost of living. Now, an average Indian spends $1.80 per day. An average American spends $97 per day. One thing that's been obvious to me as I've been living here for so long is that a lot of Indian people can live pretty well on not very much money. Food's cheaper, housing is cheaper, clothes are inexpensive. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I think in both America and in India, you can find people who are working really hard to make ends meet. At one point, I added up my annual expenses from America to India, and I found that I was spending $27,000 less by living here. Americans do tend to have more discretionary income or extra income to buy stuff, and this can lead to one problematic stat. Americans are throwing away a ton of trash. 2.24 kg per person. That's gotta be like over 6 pounds of trash a day an American is throwing away. Now, India can get a bad rap for having a lot of trash around. However, the average Indian only throws away like less than a half kg. They're much lower than the global average, although it is projected to increase as more industry and as India's economy is increasing and getting better all the time. Now, one trait that I was surprised and actually not really surprised about was that Indians are some of the happiest people in the entire world. It's so easy to see when you're walking around, people just laughing, joking, talking to each other. They'll be standing in the middle of the road as you're trying to drive by and they're laughing. It can be the hottest day and workers are sitting there in the shade laughing and talking to each other. Quick interruption, please click that like button if you're liking the video, help it go out to more people. So this proves that money does not buy happiness. The United States was in the middle range of happiness. We're pretty happy, not super happy, pretty happy. We're solidly happy. we're good. Relationships remain the #1 factor on causing increased happiness, and people think that this could be because of families and the supportive network there. And those are some of the differences and similarities between American and Indian lifestyles. Now, what is one aspect of an American lifestyle you're curious about? And what do you think is one aspect of an Indian lifestyle that American could learn from? Please let us know in the comments. And as always, stay tuned for a video next week. I'll be posting it on Monday, and have a good week.